I also think that Marvel is on this journey now of they're trying a bunch of other stuff, and I'm excited for them to see how all that goes, and it's hard to project.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. There's a new report that Marvel has changed their plan for Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 Secret Wars. Originally, those two movies were meant to end the multiverse saga and come out in the exact same year. Then they fired Jonathan Majors. The movies, all the shows started to do really poorly. Some of them started to tank. A lot of people got fired. Then Marvel changed all their plans for the movies and the shows for the next several years. So it totally makes sense that they'd be changing their plans for the next Avengers movies too, because they're changing the way they build up to those Avengers movies. A lot of their new plan gets into what's happening during the events of Captain America Brave New World in the Thunderbolts movie as well too. So we'll break it all down. We're also doing that Deadpool and Wolverine ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and post all your reactions in the comments below. I'll name a couple of winners during this video too. Just a couple years ago, Marvel's original plan for Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 before they fired Jonathan Majors is pretty well documented at this point. Everybody found out what they were doing years ago, but because of all the delays between the pandemic, the strikes, the actual release dates on all those movies and shows kept getting pushed further and further out, so the multiverse saga just kept getting longer and longer in the tooth. That's why you hear people complain, like, why are we still in the middle of the multiverse saga? Can we move past this?
Yeah, that was not really what we had in mind. Nope, that didn't help things.
Back in the day, Marvel Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 during the Infinity Saga only lasted a few years each. Like Phase 1 was the longest and it was only 4 years long. When we get to Avengers 5, it will have been 7 years since the last Avengers movie. That's if they don't delay it again. Marvel had originally planned to do another version of Infinity War and Endgame where they do a two-part Avengers movie broken into two different pieces and just give them different titles. And they would have pulled a Matrix. If you didn't watch the Matrix movies back in the day when they aired in the theater, they released the Matrix sequels in the same year. Avengers 5 was going to be called Kang Dynasty. They still haven't changed the name on the schedule yet. Like if you look at their current release schedule, it's still listed for May 2026. What they'll probably do is they'll wait till like the last possible minute when they get ready to release the first teaser. So when they actually drop it, everybody sees what's actually going on. At the end of that teaser, they'll just show you the actual brand new title. Originally, when it was still going to be a version of Kang Dynasty, they were going to use that post-credit scene from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania with the Council of Kangs to set up the main threat for the movie, or at least the first part of the movie. The Kang the Conqueror variant in that film called them the Dynasty of Kangs, thus the title Kang Dynasty.
They will take everything we built.
It would have featured them coming after the main 616 new Avengers team that would have been forming around this time in the next couple of years leading up into the film. And just like Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, Marvel was going to basically split the cast so that some actors only appear in Avengers 5 and some actors only appear in Avengers 6 so that the cast of the movies feel very different. That's how you explain them paying off the new Avengers team in Avengers 5, like all these brand new characters rising up with some of the legacy Avengers that are still surviving in present day coming back. But in Avengers 6, you can pay off the multiverse arc completely by bringing back all the biggest characters from all other Marvel movies outside of the MCU, like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Deadpool, Wolverine, X-Men characters. The original plan for how Avengers 5 would have played out is similar to the way they divided the teams up during Avengers Infinity War. Like, they were so successful with Infinity War and Endgame, naturally they wanted to replicate some of that process. There would have been 3 different teams this time fighting the 3 main Kang variants from the Council of Kangs, just like Infinity War broke the Avengers into 2 different teams, one on Titan and one in Wakanda. Even though you have thousands of different Kangs across the council sitting around here getting ready for their meeting, the main villains would have been the people leading the council, the Immortus, Ramatut, and Scarlet Centurion. But because we're talking about Kang here, the multiverse saga, time travel, the battles during that movie would have taken place in different time periods, but with the traditional MCU characters primarily. Just like Infinity War, they're meant to have another downer ending pushing into the next Secret Wars movie like they did with Endgame. The brand new Avengers team is not strong enough to fight the Council of Kangs. Who's powerful enough to kill all these other Kangs? A Beyonder type of character would have surfaced and then wiped the Council, pushing into Avengers 6, collapsing the rest of the multiverse, pulling all these different pieces of the multiverse together to form a version of Battleworld. Marvel changes the plots of the comics that it adapts all the time, so their version of Secret Wars would have been a combination of the original 80s Secret Wars where the Beyonder pulls everyone to Battleworld. combined with the modern version of Secret Wars where you have way more variants from way more universes. Kevin Feige is still planning on using that movie, whatever Secret Wars winds up turning into, to be a version of Endgame for all the legacy Fox Marvel characters, non-MCU classic Marvel characters from those early 2000s movies, just because they never got their chance to have their own version of an Endgame. So you have a lot of these new Avengers characters having been killed during Avengers 5, with a couple surviving to Secret Wars, including Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, during Secret Wars, forms that multiverse Avengers team that then winds up defeating whoever the Beyonder winds up being. Now that's the original plot. They've obviously changed things since then. They fired Jonathan Majors, they changed their release schedule for all the movies, the TV shows. They canceled a lot of the movies they were planning on making. They canceled a lot of the TV shows too. We just got that Deadpool and Wolverine trailer with the Secret Wars teaser in God Emperor Doom. It seems like that's the first indication of some of the changes they started to make to Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. But now, according to this new report, Avengers 5 will be a more grounded, Earth-based movie with a totally different story. It won't be nearly as much of a multiverse film as it was before. Something more in the vein of a World War Hulk, which everybody's been asking them to do for so long now. I think this is actually smarter for Marvel so that they can spend more time setting up the new Avengers team on the main version of Earth, because we're within a few years of those Avengers movies coming out, and none of the movies so far have given a clear indication as to exactly what the roster of that new Avengers team is going to be. We got a few surviving original Avengers and a couple people who could potentially join, but no actual confirmations, as opposed to Marvel Phase 1. Back in the day, you actually went into that first Iron Man movie looking at the release schedule for Phase 4 and knowing that all those characters were going to be the Avengers team. Like, oh, we know what the Avengers team will be even before the first movie actually comes out. Marvel is still planning on paying off the Kang storyline. The news is they'll just recast the character with another actor and they'll announce who that is relatively soon, but they're only dedicating a smaller portion of the movies to finishing that arc and then moving past it as quickly as possible. I just did a trailer video for that Captain America Brave New World footage they released at CinemaCon. I'll link it at the end of this, because during that, they already had a lot of plot that was dedicated to setting up the new Avengers team and things that were going to be the basis of Avengers 5. So it sounds like behind the scenes, one of the reasons why they decided to reshoot a lot of that movie was also to reorder some of the story to help set up the new version of Avengers 5 they're going to be doing that's more grounded. They mentioned references to Thunderbolt Ross, Red Hulk, Tim Blake Nelson's leader character coming back from the Incredible Hulk movie in a more comic book accurate form. He'll be the main villain of the film. They're even bringing back Liv Tyler's Betty Ross for the movie. Then you have that Scar Son of Hulk teaser from the end of She-Hulk. You still have Bruce Banner alive and well for the moment. Marvel apparently still has all their rights issues with doing a solo Hulk movie, which probably would have been just a standalone World War Hulk film had they been able to do it. If you remember in the past, their way around this back in the day was just to spread Hulk stories across Avengers films and Thor Ragnarok. It sounds like they're leaning more into that, and that's why they've changed some of the plots for the next couple really big movies leading into Avengers 5. Now, Marvel changes a lot of those comic book plots, sometimes a lot of big changes. So, for example, we have the Sentry showing up. Everybody would love to see the Sentry versus the Hulk in the movies, or like Wolverine versus the Hulk. We'll see what the movie actually winds up looking like, but they have a lot of the pieces there to do a lot of iconic comic book moments. I just did a video breaking down all the new Thunderbolts movie footage that they also released. Some of it was at CinemaCon, some of it was separately. But during that, we saw that they changed the title. Now the title looks like it's just regular text with a little asterisk. Kevin Feige very specifically said that Marvel would not comment on that asterisk till after the movie was released in theaters.
Thunderbolts. And yes, you'll notice an asterisk at the end of that title. That is the official title of the movie, is Thunderbolts with a asterisk. And we won't talk any more about that till after the movie comes out.
Based on the footage we've seen so far and the reported plot, that's meant to be based on a joke in the movie where the team name is just temporary. Like the asterisk is meant to represent that it's a temporary title, and the font is meant to look like it does on a form that someone writes, like Val's assistant or Val herself, where they just write Thunderbolts, like, oh, that's the team name, but we'll change this later. And by the end of the film, they'll get that brand new title, and it's supposed to be ... The Dark Avengers. During the Captain America Brave New World footage, Thunderbolt Ross yells at Sam Wilson, telling him to form a new Avengers team, and he sort of drags his feet on that. So what if ... Thunderbolt Ross and Val put their own Avengers team together because he waits too long to do that? It's kind of what they did during Falcon and Winter Soldier with selecting their own version of Captain America to give the shield to when Sam Wilson didn't want to take it up at first. But the problem they run into is that Thunderbolts is like one of the last big movies before Avengers 5 happens. So like, how could you do Avengers 5 with the regular new Avengers having just set up the Dark Avengers? Like, are you going to go into Avengers 5 with 2 different Avengers teams? What's going on here? Since it seems like they're doing a more grounded Earth-based plot, World War Hulk, or whatever they wind up calling it, they can actually now use that movie to resolve that big hanging plot thread where you have 2 different Avengers teams. They can do a much larger version of Civil War, but do it as a World War Hulk movie with Bruce Banner Hulk being in the middle of it, where you wind up with a couple different Avengers teams fighting over him. But everyone, post all your reactions in the comments below. Do you think that it's smart of Marvel to just completely change the Avengers 5 plot, do something way more grounded, and give them more time to set up the new Avengers team and resolve whatever hanging plot threads they have with this Dark Avengers team after the Thunderbolts movie? Even though this video isn't really meant to be about Secret Wars specifically, I know a lot of people saw that God Emperor Doom teaser at the end of the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, hoping that that's not just a joke and we actually do see a version of God Emperor Doom during Secret Wars in the movies. With all the changes they've been making recently, it does seem like Marvel is on the right track, and I do think that they're going to use Secret Wars as a sort of soft reboot point. I've done a couple videos about Marvel also rebooting the MCU after Secret Wars, so I'll post links for that at the end of this. Links for the Captain America, Brave New World, and Thunderbolts trailers down in the description below. Everybody click here for that Deadpool and Wolverine Shut Off Your Phones PSA. It's the first time Wolverine's ever broken the fourth wall. And click here to learn what's going on with Marvel's reboot of the MCU. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.